Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Mike D's Replay Casts. We are here going to do this. We have some cool little sound effects. And we're going to be casting a PvZ replay, which is going to be a pretty straightforward game on Xel'Naga Caverns. And so we're going to get into that pretty quickly here. Just going to turn off this. And here we are in the replay. So, 15-minute game, and it's pretty straightforward. I just do kind of a build that White Raw more or less did the other night in NASL, which is 5gate Robo, which is a pretty standard timing push that's been around for a while, but the way he does it makes it work really well against a roaching player. And then you have to be aware that there might be some deviations that you need to make if you scout something like he's totally not going roaches, and then you kind of have to not make it be a timing push. In this case, I do end up getting a third base or starting to situate one because I kill his third with a push, and so at that point I just kind of sit back and start macroing, and then I end up killing him anyways because this push is pretty strong. So let's get into this as quickly as possible. I'm gonna speed it up from the beginning, and put this on. Blah blah blah. All right, so here we go. You open up with a standard 3-gate expand, and so what I want to kind of emphasize here, or talk about a little bit in the early stages, is that after the patch, this is the same patch with the pylon radius change, and the Archon change, and also the Sentry build time change, as well as the Warp Gate time change. So that's a lot of Protoss changes there, and it does affect the 3-gate expand just a little bit, and the best way to do it, basically, to adjust for it, is to just build one extra sentry. Go for 4 units out of your gateway before your warp gate's finished, and spend like 1 chrono boost on your core. And with those two things combined, you should have it actually a pretty safe 3-gate expand that you can do just as early and just as effective and slightly safer actually, because you end up with 1 more sentry when you move down. So it's kind of nice. We've talked about this before, but just note this little hallway right here. It's going to come into play a little bit this game. So I'm scouting him around. We see gas pool. I already saw that it was gas pool before this point. And you think, okay, so speedling expand, pretty standard. There is one thing to note, actually. I want to put on the everyone cam. This original Overlord started out in a really funky pattern. He went down to here and then straight over, which is, and I saw it with my probe, and it kind of threw me off. It made me think he could be roach rushing, but then when I saw his build up here, I thought the ordering didn't really make sense for him to be roach rushing. What he ends up doing here, though, is making more Zerglings than you normally would to put on some early pressure. So he goes speedling expand, and I think he makes 6 links. Yeah, he has 6 links in production right now, and I think he actually makes another 2 after that. And I believe his intention was to harass my wall off, but he should have seen that I had this little hallway here and that he wasn't going to be able to get anything done with it. Yeah, another 4 in production, so something like 10 Zerglings. Yeah, that's a lot. That's 4 drones less than he would have made. So right now he's short 4 drones for a period of time, and he's going to end up doing very little damage with it. And you can't let them do, like, they need to do damage with that. You have to understand that if you see that many lings in the beginning, you want to this sentry build time is actually helping me out here. The sentry got out sooner than he probably was used to. And note this hallway, only 1 Zergling could attack the Zealot at a time there, and he was planning on doing some Zergling micro, and with the hallway, it's impossible to do that sort of thing. So the sentry gets out, I get a nice little force field, and already the game is very much in my favor because he cut those drones to make those lings, and they've done nothing. But you have to be aware that he's going to want to do, and I just played this game an hour ago or so, And I was on Skype with T-Gun at the moment, and I was like, he didn't do anything with his lings. He's probably going to make more lings and try and force something. And if we take a look at the harvester count, I'm way up, 18 to 24. That's huge this early in the game. And me just kind of not being messed with at all. Nothing got delayed. Nothing got messed with. His expansion is just finishing now, which is pretty standard timing, I'm pretty sure. But it may have been delayed a little bit. I don't think so, though. Excuse me. But my 3-gate expand is going right ahead. And this is this 4 sentry thing that I was talking about. Had he gone a no gas expand kind of build, or hatch first or something like that, I would have gone stalker, sentry, sentry, sentry. In this case, I went sentry, 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 sentry. And I'm going to come down here, and this is where that extra sentry actually pays off a lot, because these ling harassments that they like to do are going to be a lot less effective, and I just barely get that down, which is pretty lucky for me, and then I chase away the lings, and this is going to get up just fine. Now, there was a slight danger there of that getting cancelled. And again, this hallway is paying off here. The zealot warp in, and the force field means that all of these lings are trapped. And now that drone difference, which he has made up at this point, he hasn't made any more lings. But those extra lings that he made in the beginning and those drones that he didn't have for a short while have done nothing for him. Absolutely nothing. They've given him some scouting information that I'm going for a standard 3-gate expand. And he doesn't even know that. I could be canceling this and going for a 4-gate for all he knows. So here he is, droning, droning, droning. Note the low saturation here. Oversaturation at his main, actually. He should have transferred a few more at this point, now that this is actually up and going. But he is droning. He's droning very hard, which is what he needs to be doing at this point. So that's pretty standard. And I'm just going to play defensively. I'm half expecting like 30 Zerglings to come in right now. I'm not getting hallucination because I'm planning on going for a fairly aggressive timing push. I'm also planning on getting an early observer. Here I make a slight mistake. The idea behind this build is to get one gas geyser up online before this nexus finishes, so that you immediately have 3 guys in gas there, so that you can afford this +1 upgrade, fast observer, and everything. This cannon is also a really important thing here. And note how many sentries I have. I made a lot of sentries. This is so that you can have a ton of force fields to be able to hold off a roachling all in combination with this very fast cannon, because that's been a very popular build recently. And it's those two things that kind of the ordering of the robo there, the fast gas, the fast cannon, and the extra sentries are actually very key parts to this build that I want to emphasize. So he is going for a roach build, and I don't know this yet. And so it's a little bit unnerving to me to not know what he's going for and be building an immortal so soon. And I'm going to poke out here. I just want to clear away some Zerglings, clear the tower, put him under a little bit of pressure, make him feel like I might be pushing out. He doesn't know that for sure, but he was going to move around with these, and now he's not. It's a very small amount of roaches, though, because what he's actually doing here is going for roach with roach upgrades off of 2 bases, and then he's going to expand. So here he's going to kill his rocks, pretty standard. I'm still worried about lings at this point. I'm walling off back here. I'm just starting to get my immortal going, and I'm also you put on your 4th and 5th gateways after this robotics facility is up and running. And soon here, I think I'm going to cut probes. My saturation here is actually missing 2 probes here and oversaturated here. So if I was going to be going super all in with this, I would be cutting probes right about now and have them a little bit more evenly distributed. But that's not going to be the case. He has a super annoying overlord here. If you're a Zerg player, always do this. It's such a pain in the ass when you're trying to take a third, especially if you're trying to take a third while attacking. Know that all of these sentries pretty much have full energy, which is great. I just have so many force fields. That's 4 force fields per sentry. That's like 40 force fields. That's so many force fields. He didn't make me spend any before either. And this is when I see this roach here, which he unburrows for some reason, and lets me see that he has burrow, which I think was a huge mistake, because as soon as I see that, I move my observer back with my army, and I'm like, well, he has roaches, and I'm going for 5-gate Robo, so this is great. And from this point on, I'm like feeling pretty good about the push, because he just happens to be going roaches. Now, I already knew he was going roaches, actually, because I saw with the the observer over here, and that was kind of the point of the observer, and I missed that. It was very important to get the observer out here so that you can see whether or not he's going roaches or lings or something like that, because there's a lot of ling builds that are really popular. And now I get to kill off all his creep, which is also really annoying for the Zerg and great for me. I see the roaches and I'm like, not just yet. I know I have another immortal building, so we're just going to go back. And if you do anything with this, kill his third. Depending on the map. I mean, if you kill his natural or his third, if you kill some sort of hatchery, you're in pretty good shape. But in this case, I'm just feeling great. The thing that I don't know, though, is about this infestation pit, that the energy glands are about to finish. And he has, in production, 3 infestors. And 3 fungal growths could kill all of my sentries. And do quite a lot of damage to my stalkers. But unfortunately for him, 1 fungal growth totally negated right there. And then this is where I'm totally satisfied with killing that. And I already started to cannon up this, and now I have this annoying overlord here. And I would preferably have my nexus already building, but unfortunately that just kind of doesn't happen. So at this point, he needs to be aggressive. He's going to hope that his fungal growths and roaches are enough, but he really just doesn't have enough. His money's really high. He doesn't have the larva to spend all of that. And so killing that hatchery was huge. And this is where some like unreasonably placed force fields go down. I use like way too many. I have 40 of them though, so it's not too bad. But I just kind of throw down lots of force fields everywhere, and then my immortals just kill all the roaches so hard. It's like not even close. A pure roach army against 5gate Robo is just like mincemeat, and especially after losing that third. The infestors were kind of a cute idea, but infestor roach is still not good enough. Infestors are really good, but it's not really the answer to this. And he's just going to see that this game is over, and pretty much leave the game as soon as I move up here. He's going for a counter, but I mean it's like 8 roaches and. I have this, and he leaves the game. So that's pretty much the idea behind that. It's pretty standard, but note those differences to the build, where we have this sort of getting 3 gates and then the Robo, 3-gate forge, then Robo, then adding on the 2 other gates, while evening out your economy, getting the cannon, getting +1, getting an observer, and now I'm doing all this other funky stuff like getting a Dark Shrine and Twilight Council and trying to take my third, which is like not happening. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I also got +1 armor at some point in there as well. So there you have it, 5-gate Robo. Pretty it wasn't the cleanest of execution of the build, but it showed a good example of how well it can work against these roach-based armies. So that's it for this episode of the Mike D Replay Cast. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to be returning to my regular streaming in just a minute. See ya.